Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start the Eureka Academy today. We will now begin the Eureka Academy program of the 2023 Korea Eureka Day. I am Jason Kang, Director of the International R&D Cooperation Team in the KIAT, and I am a National Project Coordinator of of Korea in Eureka program. I am really glad that the KIAT is hosting this event with the Eureka Network here in Korea. And the Eureka Academy has been organized to expand international technology collaboration network with European countries. It provides a platform to share information on the key program being carried out within the Eureka network and achievement to date. I hope this opportunity will allow you to gain a clear understanding of the various programs to encourage your active participation in the future. First, I would like to introduce Mr. Yooduk, Director General, the Deputy HRR of KIAT, for the short comments before we start.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Yooduk, Director General of International Cooperation Center at KIAT. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the companies, research institute, universities, and the international participants who have shown great interest in international cooperation between Korea and Europe. And I would also like to express my deep appreciation to the Eureka Secretariat for co-hosting the Eureka Academy. It's a pleasure to be part of this Eureka Academy session of Korea Eureka Day 2023. I've been the Deputy High-Level Representative for Korea since this December, and my role is to oversee international collaborative R&D, including the Eureka program in Korea. Eureka is an important pillar of international collaborative R&D in Korea, and I'm very pleased to organize the 2023 Korea Eureka Day here in Seoul, Korea with Eureka. Eureka is the world's largest international technology cooperation network, founded in Europe in 1985. And Korea first joined the network as an associate member in 2009. Since then, Korea's relationship with the Eureka has grown from a modest beginning with 4 projects, 800,000 euro. Now it has grown to a total project cost of 14 billion euros for new projects supported annually. Moreover, Korea also became the first non-European full member of Eureka in 2022 and is now one of the most active contributors in Eureka. This is due to the great enthusiasm of Korean companies, research institutes, and universities for technological innovation through international collaborative research. Eureka began as a European-focused program, but now Eureka is showing its unique diversity, inclusiveness, and outstanding scalability, enough for Korea and Canada to become full members. In this regard, Eureka has become an important channel for researchers in Korea and around the world to connect and develop technologies together. From a Korean perspective, I believe that Eureka has played a big role as a bridge to quench the thirst of Korean companies for high-tech collaboration with Europe, a region with strong technological capabilities and a large market. Today at the Eureka Academy, we will have a number of staffs from the Eureka Secretariat including Eureka Director General Brit Helle, who will explain the various Eureka programs and reply directly to the questions. You will also have a chance to hear valuable stories from researchers who have experience in conducting Eureka project. Although we have only 2 hours today, I hope you will get a lot of information about the Eureka programs. And I also expect this Eureka Academy to become a starting point for many researchers to join the Global Technology Innovation Network. In cooperation with the Eureka Secretariat, KIAT will continue to do our best to support your international collaborative research. I sincerely thank you again, and I will hand over the microphone to Director General Brit Helle. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. John. Next, I would like to introduce Mrs. Brit Helle, Director General of the Eureka Secretariat, and she will deliver the opening remark. Before she coming up to the stage, we'd like to show you this one Eureka, the videos altogether. Thank you very much. I would like to introduce again Mrs. Brit Helle, the Director General of Eureka Secretariat, and she's going to have opening remarks. Thank you.
안녕 하세요. 환영합니다. So that was supposed to be hello and welcome. Welcome to the Eureka Academy. So as you heard, my name is Brit Helle, Director General of the Eureka Secretariat, based in Brussels, at the heart of Europe in Belgium. I'm immensely proud to represent Eureka here in Seoul, together with Eureka's chair and president, Mr. Ismail Dogan, who you've heard, and his team from TÜBİTAK, the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey. I'm also very happy to be accompanied by my colleagues from the Eureka Secretariat, who will present specific parts of our operations to you during this Eureka Academy. And it is truly a privilege for us to be here at the Korea Eureka Day, hosted and organized by the Korea Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy and the Korea Institute for Advancement of Technology, KIAT. And I would especially like to thank Dr. John, Director General of KIAT's International Cooperation Center, and Jason, our Eureka National Project Coordinator, for inviting us to showcase Eureka and its programs. Not only do we appreciate the opportunity to attend this dynamic event and be able to talk about Eureka, which we love, and the visibility it gives us, but we also appreciate immensely the Korean hospitality, allowing us to learn and experience your unique culture. So, without further ado, and to kick off the Eureka Academy, please let me give you a few highlights of Eureka's history and our programs and activities. And I think I will say there will be a little bit of repetition between the different presentations, but we believe repetition is good because then in the end, I'm sure you will remember the main highlights. So, Eureka was established in 1985 in Paris as an intergovernmental initiative. And on this photo, you see Eureka's founding fathers, Mr. François Mitterrand, who was the French president at the time, and Helmut Kohl, Germany's chancellor. The two of them, together with the European Commission, started the success story, which will soon be 40 years old. They believed that the establishment of a large, homogeneous, dynamic, and outward-looking European economic area was essential to support the economic development and employment in Europe. The exchange of technologies between enterprises and institutes was a prerequisite for high technological standard. And this high technological standard would be achieved by encouraging and facilitating increased industrial, technological, and scientific cooperation on projects directed at developing products, processes, or services that have a global market potential and that are based on advanced technologies. The aim of Eureka's activities was to encourage and stimulate the elaboration and implementation of concrete civilian projects by companies, university, and research organizations from different countries, and to design and apply appropriate funding formula that respect the principles of international free competition. These are the founding principles of the organization, and this was how Eureka was born. So at its outset, as you've already heard, the Eureka initiative had a European base. 14 years later, in 2009, in view of the importance of global cooperation to develop advanced technologies, Eureka expanded outside of Europe and welcomed Korea and KIAT to its network as an associated member. And since then, Korea has been an integral part of Eureka's growing global network. Through numerous projects, Korea has been an important international partner for European companies and research organizations cooperating with Asian innovation ecosystems. And vice versa, Eureka has facilitated cooperation from Korean organizations in Europe. After a successful period of being first an associated member for 3 4-year periods, and then a partner country in Eureka, another change with Korea as a central actor marked Eureka's increasing global outreach and history. In June 2022, the statutes of Eureka were changed by approval of a ministerial conference held in Estoril, in Portugal, to allow non-European countries as full members to the network. And in this same ministerial conference, Korea became the first non-European country, together with Canada, to become a full member of Eureka. And here you see the signing ceremony between Mr. Soo-sung Hwang, Korean Deputy Minister of Trade, Industry and Energy, and Ms. Elvira Fortunato, the Portuguese Minister for Science, Technology and Higher Education. You've seen this map before, but this shows or sort of initially, when created in '85, Eureka had 18 countries and the European Commission as full members. And since then, as you see from this map, we have expanded to include 47 countries. Yeah, we have the full geographic Europe, nearly, with some exceptions, Korea and Canada, as already mentioned, but we also have South Africa, Chile, Argentina, and Singapore. So what is Eureka today? We are very proud to say that we are the world's biggest public network for international research and development and innovation. So in short, research organizations and companies applying through Eureka programs access a platform for funding and support from 47 national and regional ministries and agencies. So we are supporting small and medium enterprises, large companies, universities, and research institutes. So the Eureka funding and the opportunity to connect and collaborate internationally are made available through a range of programs. So while parts of running of the programs are centralized in the Eureka Secretariat, which I run, the uniqueness of the Eureka programs is that the main contact point for the companies and organizations are the national and regional authorities in each Eureka country. They know the companies and organizations in their country best. And our aim is that our program should be easily accessible and with the lowest threshold for entry and administrative burden possible. The hosting of an event of this scale is a testament to Kiat's dedication to our network and the organizations we support. And here today, I'm grateful to be addressing an audience of some of Korea's great innovators. Present, we also have delegations with country representatives and companies from Austria, Canada, France, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, and Turkey. Some of our other members are also present, like Belgium, but without a formal delegation. I'm hoping that the Eureka Korea Days will be an occasion for many of you present to find interesting new potential project partners and to see the start of new fruitful collaboration that in turn can lead to groundbreaking innovation. So these are the facts that we like to repeat. Since 1985, we have mobilized over 40 billion euro of public-private investment, and we have supported the research and development of over 7,000 groundbreaking projects. We are confident that these projects have positively impacted economic growth and changed people's lives for the better. And we do not want to stop. We are constantly improving and optimizing our programs to answer the needs of innovators and our societies to provide the best added value. What is quite unique feature or project characteristic of the Eureka programs is that our approach is so-called bottom-up. What does that mean? It means that the companies and innovators, you, decide the area of technology within which to innovate as long as the project is within the funding principles of your country. On this aspect, the Eureka programs are complementary to other more thematic funding programs in the innovation ecosystem and landscape. As you've already heard from our Turkish chair, we have many upcoming exciting opportunities. The outline of the Turkish chair program is what you see here on the slide, and which Mr. Ismail Dogan has already alluded to. So in the global outreach, one of the very exciting opportunities that we hope to see being realized this year is that Brazil has put forward a request to explore possibilities for association to Eureka. And if you remember the global map, that would make quite an impact on our outreach. All these initiatives that are being run by the Turkish chair will see their conclusion, or they will culminate in the Eureka Global Innovation Summit in Istanbul, which will be held in June, and which I hope might be an occasion to meet again. If you're new to Eureka, or not completely new, but have not yet understood fully what Eureka is about, this Eureka Academy is the perfect place for you to learn more about all our programs and decide if and where we can fit within your organization's growth. So I encourage you to use the opportunity to ask questions and engage with my colleagues present here in Seoul, with the delegations, to make the most out of this unique opportunity. So this is the program of the Eureka Academy. My colleagues will present the different programs. So first there will be Peter Chisnall, our Director of Strategy, Business and Development and Data, who will talk more about Eureka's strengths and opportunities. Ms. Camilla Latte, our Eurostars Operations Manager, will outline our flagship program for small and medium enterprises, Eurostars. After that, Linden and Sébastien Aubron, our Clusters Program Coordinators, will present our clusters communities and programs. And then finally, Jorge, our Network Projects, Globalstars and Investment Readiness Manager, will give an overview of the 4 other programs and activities. And we are also very honored to be joined by Korean innovators that have participated in Eureka projects. I guess they will be introduced by Jason, but this is really it's a very nice illustration of actually what our programs can do in practical terms for companies and institutes. I'm looking very much forward to these presentations. Then I think it's time for me to say 감사합니다. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Secretariat. Yeah, it was very good opening for the Eureka Academy. Yeah, next agenda, under the theme, our program, our strengths, our opportunities, I'd like to invite Mr. Peter Chisnall. He is a Director of Strategy and Business Development of Eureka Secretariat. We'll proceed with the presentation. He's going to introduce about the Eureka. Please give a big round of applause.
Thank you, Jason, for the introduction, and thank you to all of you for such a warm welcome. My name is Peter Chisnall, and I'm the Director of Strategy, Business Development and Data at the Eureka Secretariat in Brussels, Belgium. I'm here today to give you an overview of Eureka's goals, explain how you can benefit from Eureka's strategic position, outline Eureka's project characteristics, and offer a comparison of all of our programs so that you can decide which ones best suit your needs. As Brit Helle, our Director General, explained, Eureka is the world's biggest network for international cooperation in R&D and innovation, present in 47 countries, including, obviously, South Korea, but also Singapore, South Africa, Argentina and Chile, Canada, and almost all countries on the European continent. In addition to these, Eureka's connection with the European Commission, one of our founding members, offers Korean organizations the opportunity to partner in projects that are a part of Horizon Europe, the world's biggest civil research and innovation program. And our Globalstars program has been an entry point for ministries and funding agencies in several other countries and regions to dedicate funding to international R&D projects with organizations from Eureka countries. In practical terms, that means that when you apply through our programs, you and your project partners around the world can conduct international research while receiving decentralized funding and support from your national ministries and funding agencies. By using our programs as a mechanism to address shared global challenges, including sustainability and the digital transition, we're continuously attracting new countries and regions to partner with Eureka. Sometimes these partnerships address issues that affect many communities around the world. For example, we've previously run a call for healthcare, agriculture, and water technology with India. We focused on Africa in the last Inner-Wide call. And Globalstars has seen collaborations with Japan, India, Brazil, and more. Our commitment to global outreach means your organization can work alongside others from around the world with different perspectives on how to solve these shared global challenges. How? Well, across all of our programs, project generation is bottom-up, meaning that you define the area of R&D, so long as the results are not intended for military use. Through Eureka, we support international R&D of any type of technology, from biotech and nanochips to space, earth, and ocean observation systems, renewable energy, and agriculture. To receive funding, organizations need to submit a high-quality project application to one of our programs. And with our range of programs, we're driven to supporting organizations from the moment you decide to start an international R&D project to commercializing your end results. Over the years, we've tailored several programs to best support international R&D and innovation. Eurostars. This allows SMEs to aim higher. Originally started in 2008, this is the third edition of our highly successful SME program and will continue to run until at least 2027. InnoWide supports research and business ventures in new markets. Investment Readiness drives companies towards private investment. Clusters encourage industry-led projects. Network projects offer flexibility for international partners as they're not call-based, so you can apply at any time. Or Globalstars looks to new markets beyond the scope of Eureka's already huge network. You might have noticed the box around Eurostars and InnoWide. This is because they're part of a very special partnership established by the European Commission. The European Commission, Eureka, Korea, and 36 other countries are part of the European Partnership on Innovative SMEs, which is a program co-funded by the European Union through Horizon Europe. As a Korean organization, our Eurostars program is a unique opportunity for you to conduct international R&D, access national funding, and participate in the Horizon Europe program. Within InnoWide, Korean organizations can benefit indirectly if they help a European SME that's exploring research or commercialization opportunities inside of Korea. As well as supporting Eurostars and InnoWide, it includes a number of accompanying measures such as elements of the Investment Readiness Program or opportunities to use a fast-track process to the European Innovation Council's Accelerator Program. Now, this is a lot of information, so don't worry. My colleagues will explain each of these programs in much greater detail. Each year, across all of Eureka's programs, we receive many applications, but we fund around 340 projects per year, worth roughly 640 million euros of public-private investment. Eurostars is the program where we see the most projects, but clusters tend to have a much larger investment as they draw more participants and corporates. There are key differences between each of our programs so that we can offer you, the organizations, the best range of funding opportunities. There's no right or wrong program. It depends on what your organization needs at a given moment to realize your innovation goals. All of our programs are flexible for national ministries or funding agencies to decide funding amounts or percentages or eligible types of organization and costs. And since Korea and Kiat are actively involved in all Eureka programs, you have a great choice of getting involved with Eureka and partnering with other organizations. Trusted experts from Kiat will advise, support, and guide you from the development of your project idea through the application process and all the way to the project's completion. So how can you choose which program is best for your R&D journey? You may be eligible to participate in one or all of our programs, but you should consider some key factors to find the optimum program for you right now. The first step might be based on the type of organization you are. Are you a young SME or a startup that's looking to grow? SMEs can apply to all of our programs, but Eurostars, InnoWide, and our Investment Readiness Program are designed specifically with innovative SMEs in mind and offer consistent support and easy application. Larger companies, research institutes, or universities might find more opportunities and access to a wider R&D scope through our network projects, Globalstars, or our clusters programs. Although again, the participation of SMEs is actively encouraged in all of our programs. Finally, the clusters have existing communities, making it a great choice of program if you want to partner with multiple SMEs or corporates on a large project that covers a whole value chain. Our clusters program is also an excellent opportunity if you already want to integrate end users into your project. If your R&D is focused in one of these sectors, then one of our 5 Eureka clusters might be the best option for you. Then, of course, it's a big world. Which country should you partner with? We have several different Eureka countries that have joined us here in Korea to help answer that very question. Tomorrow they will have the country seminars, giving you all of the information you need to help identify your ideal R&D partner. And we hope very much that you'll join us for these key sessions. Eureka is flexible. It enables international collaboration and helps you access public R&D funding. But projects have also told us that they benefit from access to new markets around the world, their R&D relationships becoming long-term partnerships, knowledge transfer, commercial acceleration, and of course, revenue growth. Among many other successes, Eureka projects have resulted in technology for movies and special effects in films. In fact, if you watch a classic movie in high definition from the iTunes store, it's a Eurostars company that helped develop the upscaling tool. Novel diagnostic tools for automated screening and rare diseases. Much effort was made in developing a rapid test for COVID through a network project call. Treatments for Alzheimer's and paralysis. Recently, a paralyzed motorbike rider from Spain has started his journey to be able to walk again, thanks to research funded in part through Eurostars. Passport and credit card chips. I guess everyone in the room probably has a credit card, and the chip technology behind it emerged from a Eureka cluster. Sustainable meat alternatives, whether it's lab-grown meat, synthetic meats, or non-meat options. Improvements to renewable energy technologies, including energy generation through to the rollout of smart grids, and solutions for reducing carbon emissions. Some of these represent huge shifts in technology adopted worldwide. Many are smaller iterative developments to technology advancement, but represent key milestones in a company's life cycle, whether they're a large corporate based in several countries or a small-scale company that's only recently started. And the good news for Korean organizations interested in applying, KIAT funds all organizations in all Eureka programs. So I invite you to look at the funding opportunities we have now and to find your national contact on our website. We have a monthly newsletter and social media channels that you can subscribe to. And I encourage you to take advantage of this incredible event that our hosts KIAT have organized by meeting the team at KIAT, the representatives from the different Eureka countries that are here, but also speaking to each other to find opportunities with innovators like yourselves. I wish you a fantastic Eureka Career Days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chisnall. If you have any question, we have a Q&A session after all the presentations, so please ask your question after end of the session. Now, I would like to move on to the presentation on the specific Eureka programs. I would like to invite Mrs. Camilla de Latte, the Eurostars Operation Manager of Eureka Secretariat. She is going to introduce about the Eurostars 3, which is the most important funding program in for the small and medium-sized companies. Please give a big round of applause.
Thank you, Jason, and good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here and to be able to give a few more details of one of our core funding programs, that is Eurostar. So Eurostar is part of the European Partnership on Innovative SME, as Peter mentioned earlier, that is co-founded by the European Union through Horizon Europe. It started this partnership in 2021, and it will run till 2027. There are 37 participating countries, including Korea, that put almost 1 billion euro in dedicated funding. Eurostar is a funding program for international research and development projects, and the main target are innovative SME. Eurostar is also often the first instance of international collaboration for SME because of its accessibility. We have 2 calls per year. We receive around 300-400 applications per call, and we have a quite high success rate. 25% of project applicants do receive funding, so it's a good opportunity. As I mentioned, there are 2 calls per year. The next one is going to open on the 12th January, and it's going to close on the 14th of March, 2024. The deadline is at 2 p.m. Brussels time, so please, if you are applying from Korea, for example, be careful about the time zone difference. But if you are not ready for the next call, don't worry, because there are 2 calls per year till 2027, so you have time to prepare your project proposal. As I said before, the main target are innovative SME that must also lead the project. And we define an innovative SME as an SME that has the ambition to collaborate internationally in research and development projects to create innovative process, product, or service that can be commercialized in European or global markets. But not only SME can participate. So we see also the participation in Eurostar of large company, research institute, and universities. We have 7 eligibility criteria. These are very important when you start setting up your project proposal, because you need to meet all of them during the entire evaluation process. So while you are thinking about your project proposal, keep them in mind. The first one I mentioned already is that the innovative SME from a Eurostar country must be in the driving seat of the consortium. Eurostar is also about collaboration, so there must be at least 2 independent entities collaborating together from at least 2 Eurostar countries. One of them must be a European Union or an associated Europe country. This is important for Korean organization, because that means that you need to find a partner that is either coming from a European Union country or is associated to Horizon Europe. It might be tricky, so my recommendation here is to read carefully our guidelines about the eligibility criteria, where it's quite well explained, and you can also see which country are Eurostar country, which country are Horizon Europe associated country, and so on. Then we have 2 eligibility criteria about the budget. One is that 50% of the project budget must be led by the SMEs in the project, and also the not single entities or country can have more than 70% of the budget. This is to ensure that there is some balance in the consortium. The maximum project duration is 36 months, and as Peter mentioned, this is not only a Eurostar eligibility criteria, but is a Eureka one. The project must have a civilian purpose. The next one is not an eligibility criteria, but I think it's very important, because Eurostar found projects that can be rapidly commercialized. So it's very important that you take into consideration this as well. Now, Eurostar has a centralized evaluation process. We already talked about the eligibility criteria. So if your project proposal is eligible, then you will be assessed by external evaluators that will assess your project proposal based on 3 main criteria. One is the quality of the consortium. Then they will look about the commercialization potential of your result. And the last one is about the innovation, clearly. Also, the National Funding Agency will perform a financial viability check on your organization to see if you can carry on the activity in the proposal. In case you have a good project proposal according to the evaluators and all the organizations in the consortium are financially viable, then your project can be approved and you will receive public funding. Once it's approved, it's quite simple, even if then you need to start working on the project. So we ask you to sign, together with your consortium member partner, a consortium agreement. And after that, we ask you to report every 6 months about the progress of your project. At the end of the project, we ask you for what we call end of project report, where we ask about your achievement, how the collaboration went, but also the benefit that the Eurostar funding brought to your organization. There are some benefits in participating in Eurostar program. One of them is clearly the funding availability, but also, as I mentioned earlier, is an excellent first experience for international collaboration. And we often see companies starting with a Eurostar project and then challenging themselves in bigger R&D projects or other EU-funded schemes. There is, of course, working together through the collaboration, knowledge transfer. You might be able to access new market through your consortium member, and there is also revenue growth. What I like to mention, and Peter mentioned before me as well, I think collaboration is key. So we see more than half of our participants stating that they managed to build up a long business relation with their partner organization even after the project is over. And sometimes this results in the creation of spin-off companies. If you think that Eurostar is the program for you, so the first thing to do is to contact your expert national project coordinator at KIAR or at your national funding agency to ask which support is available for you. Not only in terms of funding, but they can also help you to look for a project partner. And this is also a very key element while you are preparing your project proposal, because clearly Eurostar is about collaboration. We also have guidelines on the public website, an explainer video that you can watch, and then you can follow us on our social media to be always up to date about next webinar, events, matchmaking, and so on. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Camilla. Actually, as a funding agency in Korea, the Eurostar is our top priority program we can fund. So I really encourage every Korean companies can participate Eurostar program. And in order to make you understand Eurostar program a little bit more, I would like to invite one Korean companies to share their experience in the Eurostar program. Let me introduce Mr. Chang-ha LIM, the CEO of Decamaterials.
예, 안녕하세요. 데카마테리얼
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chang-ha LIM, CEO of Decamaterial. It's a great pleasure to be back at Korea Eureka Day. It's been quite a while, but for those of you that already know, we do have distinguished guests from Eureka Secretariat. I'm sure that some of you may see me as quite of a familiar face. Actually, I worked for Kiat, and I was in charge of international cooperation for about 8 years. And I recall it was 2015 when we were hosting the Korea Eureka Day, and I was a part of the organizing committee. And in 2016, it was in Sweden where the Eureka Day took place. In 2017, I left Kiat to work for an SME. And I was actually in charge of Eurostar 2 for that company. And I would like to share with you a success story of the Eurostars program. So let me brief you on the company and an overview on the project, the results of the project, and after the completion of the project, what kind of achievements we've garnered. So first of all, on the company. So as of October 1st, under HTS Holdings, there are 5 companies. And in 2017, when I left from Kiat to HPK, there was just only one company of HPK. So it was about 6.5 years back. But at that time, when I came to HPK, there was about 50 resources. And then the revenue was about 2 million euros back then. However, it's been about 6.5 years. And now it has 5 companies, and there are about 500 employees. And the total revenue is around 20 million euros. So right now, Carbon Material and Decamaterial is where I currently head. And at HPK, I've mentioned that we've conducted the Eurostar 2 program, but I was also involved in new businesses and also strategizing for new markets. So back then, I've opened up a research institute for HPK. And lithium-ion batteries, and especially the highly advanced battery that uses silicon, was something that was researched. And also carbon fiber was developed back then. So right now, the advanced silicon materials are currently being developed by Decamaterials. It's close to commercialization. In the case of carbon material, it's focused on carbon fiber, where they're working into commercialization. So Decamaterials, particularly in the anode material, in carbon material, and carbon fiber. So now moving on to the Eurostars 2 project. The project started in 2017 to 2020, so it was a 3-year project. And HPK was in charge. It was the leading company. And we had from Korea Institute of Machinery and Materials. And as an overseas partner, we had from Germany, Laser, Gentrum Hanover, and Neotech AMT. So if you look at the roles amongst these organizations, well, because we were an SME, we did not have that core technology back then. HPK is a machinery company, so we designed the machinery, the facility, so we're very good at that. However, if you go into the factor technologies, of course, the SME and its limitation has led to not being not as prominent in that area. However, by using femtosecond laser, OLED displays, and laser cutting of this displays was a key technology that a company has said that they would be transferring this to us to conduct an international project. So with regard to that, back then, the CEO said okay to this joint research project. And from Korea Institute of Machinery and Materials, of course, we did pay for it, but we've received the technology, 2 particular technologies from KIMM. And based on that, we've conducted this project. And if you hear on the left bottom, now there is a technological area for KIMM. There are laser-dedicated teams and resources at KIMM, and especially with regard to pentasecond laser, this organization really had that core technology. And with regard to OLED displays, in order to manufacture OLED displays, you need to print the electrodes. And when you do print, there are, of course, off-spec projects. It has to be 1 micrometer wide. However, it may not be as straight or as refined. And if that happens, we need to use laser to cut that part off. Therefore, KIMM has transferred us that technology, the cutting process. And then from Laser Zentrum Hanover of Germany, when you print the electrode, there are areas that are cut where the electrode, sometimes it would not be a continuum. And in the area for those gaps, a silver nano paste, a coating process would be involved, and by using the laser, an annealing would take place. And the German counterpart had the core technology in that regard. And then Neotech AMT prints the silver nano paste, so they developed the head for the printing. And they integrate all of this, and the integration of these systems, the facilities or the equipment was done by HPK. And I recall back then where it was 2020 when we've completed the project. So it was basically at the end of April. But from the end of 2019 and onwards, as you know, COVID-19 has impacted us. And at the end of 2019 and early 2020, with our German partners, what happened was we had to go back and forth to really host meetings, to pay visits. However, that none of that took place because of COVID-19. And at Neotech AMT, the printing head, we weren't able to get it from them. So what happened was that we needed to integrate all of this equipment, and with regard to the integrations, we needed to test the performance. However, because of COVID-19, this printing head, they could not have that sent to us. Therefore, we received the design layout from Germany, and we've created the very same design, and we've engaged in the final testing in Korea. And this project was a success, and the picture that you see here on the left is laser cutting, printing, and annealing, bringing this all together. So this piece of equipment enables all 3. And because this was a policy project, you can see that there were 10 performance indicators where we had to achieve these goals, and yes, that we did. And by using this equipment, what did we do? LG Display was one of our core customers. So LG Display and LG Electronics, and they are the key customers who are this apparatus. And if you look at the achievements, in the process of this Eurostars 2 program, you can see that there were 3 patents and 2 SCI papers. And in addition to that, there were additional, 6 non-SCI articles. And of course, we are a small SME company, and we, of course, are driven by profit. So job creations, sales performance, were also areas where we've been seeing some excellent achievements. And in terms of the number of personnel, especially for our resources in this area. In 2021, it was 60, but in 2022, we have 71. So we've added about 11, so that created about 11 jobs for this particular case. And this was concluded in 2020, and from 2021 and onwards, you can see that we've been able to record some sales. In 2021, we've actually achieved 3.65 million. And then in 2022, 3.78 million euros in sales performance. This year would be around 3.5 million, which is slightly unfortunate. But yes, the revenue did dip down. But I spoke with the HPK sales director, and it was said that because of the great uncertainties, the economic uncertainties, the geopolitical instability, and also next year there are some bleak prospects. So that may have caused the dip in the sales performance by a modest margin. However, I do want to mention that this equipment that was developed via Eurostars program is continuing to provide benefits to not only LG Display, but we will continue on to open up new markets, get new accounts, and I believe that it will be able to create more jobs and also achieve a greater sales result going forward. So that is all for my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lim. We're going to move to the next topic, the Eureka Cluster Program. The Eureka Cluster Program is a very unique program. The KIAT is encouraging the more Korean companies to participate to this the Eureka Cluster Program. And the Cluster Program is one of the most funded programs by the KIAT recently. I'd like to invite Mr. Linden, the Eureka Cluster Coordinator at the Eureka Secretariat. And I would like to invite Mr. Sébastien Aubron, and the Eureka Cluster Coordinator for the industry from the cluster side. Please give a big round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Linden. I'm the Clusters Coordinator for Public Authorities. I'd like to start off by saying what an honor it is to be here today at this prestigious event. And I'm here with my colleague Sébastien Aubron, who will explain about how to apply for projects and some of the processes, because as has been mentioned, the clusters is quite unique. So what are the clusters? They are industry-led communities that consist of leading companies, knowledge institutes, and end-user organizations such as healthcare providers. They're focused on strategic technology areas, and they're market-oriented, aiming to solve economic, technological, and societal challenges. There are currently 5 clusters. These are Celtic Next, which is focused on next-generation ICT systems and services. So you can think about 5G and 6G, for instance. We have Eureka 2030, which is about low-carbon energy technologies, and they also focus on bioresources. You can think about ITF4 as covering all of the market areas. It focuses on software and innovation, the digital transition. Software is pervasive, it's everywhere, so you can really find projects that focus on everything there. We have SMART, which is focused on advanced manufacturing and production technologies. And we have XECS, which is about electronic components and systems. So what makes up a clusters community? Well, it's large companies, it's research organizations, and it's many innovative SMEs. You can see here a collection of the companies and research organizations that are involved in one or more of the clusters. How are they involved? Some of them might be sitting on the boards of some of the clusters, some of them might be involved in projects, some of them might be providing experts to help with the evaluations, as Sébastien will explain in a moment. So some examples of the community activities. We have workshops to exchange on technological and market developments. There's the development of strategic roadmaps and R&D and innovation agenda, and this is really the sort of intellectual heart of each of every one of the clusters. It's a roadmap developed by industry showing where progress needs to be made in that particular technology area, and then there are projects, of course, on this. There are pitching and brokering activities to share project ideas and support the formation of consortia. There's a participation in one-off or a series of projects to extend the state of the art. Exhibitions and prize competitions to celebrate achievements. And each of the clusters also pursues strategic collaborations, for instance, with the European Space Agency and with the various European Union joint undertakings. And all of these activities are opportunities to get involved in the community. The projects are maybe the most visible part of the clusters, but the projects come out of these other activities, out of the communities. So what would be the benefits of participating? It's a proven funding instrument with a decades-long track record with offices behind them that have really been focused on these areas, supporting projects and building ecosystems for many years. You get the opportunity to build long-term international relationships and access markets across the globe. So if you're a small SME on one continent, you would have the opportunity to collaborate with a larger company on another continent, for instance. Industry leaders get to work with cutting-edge innovators, and SMEs get to collaborate with industry leaders. You can access expertise and receive professional guidance. The clusters put a lot of effort into coaching and mentoring, so it's not as if a project begins and you're left to it. No, there's a lot of interaction with the cluster offices. There are high funding success rates, and there are benefits to the organizations that participate, for instance, economic benefits for companies. So don't just take my word for it. These are the results of a survey that we ran to participants, companies in the clusters, and we asked them, why does your company usually participate in the clusters? And almost all of them mentioned international cooperation. Others mentioned this privileged environment for RD&I, the communities. Others mentioned the close-to-market approach, the high success rates, the bottom-up approach, and also this agile and flexible project management, which is another characteristic of clusters projects. Other reasons that respondents mentioned were networking and knowledge-sharing effects that could lead to innovative project ideas. The fact that we have mid-sized projects, they're a bit different from other programs that are out there, and it's an industry-driven approach, both with the strategic research and innovation agenda, with the boards, and also with the project generation, which is very much comes from the companies. So here's a list of the countries that are supporting the clusters. The good news for the Korean participants, Korea supports all 5 of the clusters. Most countries support all 5 as well, but it's well worth going to the clusters website if you're from a different country to see what opportunities for funding are there. And as you can see, the countries that support the clusters come from all parts of the world. Just to finish now, before I hand over to Sébastien, the clusters run calls every year. So 3 of the clusters run 1 call per year. That's ITEA, SMART, and XCCS. Celtic Next runs 2 calls per year, autumn and spring. And every 3 years, they have a flagship, which is a very large project focused on a particular element related to ICT. Eureka, which is the low-carbon energy, renewable energies clusters focused, has 3 calls per year. And sometimes the clusters collaborate so that they can really leverage the expertise of different communities. So you can see that there was a joint call on artificial intelligence in 2020 and 2021, and a call focused on sustainability in 2022. And we can imagine ones in the future, for instance, ones between ITEA and Eureka, which would be looking at software and renewable energies and decarbonisation. So with that, I'll hand over to my colleague Sébastien Aubron, and I'd like to say that we will be here for the next 2 days. So if you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to come up to us and have a chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linden, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sébastien Aubron. I'm the Clusters Coordinator for Industry, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here today in Seoul. So my colleague Linden gave you valuable information on the Clusters Programme's principles, the communities, and also some of the benefits for the participating organizations. I would now like to focus on the core activity of clusters, which are the calls for proposals they organize and the projects they monitor afterwards. So first, we may ask ourselves, what is a typical cluster project, right? Well, clusters projects are called mid-sized projects, as they are usually bigger than some national projects, but maybe not as big as some large commissions initiatives. So this is reflected in the figures that you can see on the screen. There is, on average, between 3 and 5 countries involved in a cluster project. As explained earlier on, there is a minimum of 2 Eureka countries in any Eureka project, and that works for clusters as well. But in the clusters, we usually have more project countries involved. In fact, we encourage this for 2 reasons. The first reason is to increase the likelihood of the project to be funded finally by the countries. And the second reason is to increase the geographical impact. Usual project duration is 3 years. The average number of participants is between 3 and 14 participants, so the minimum is 2, but more is advised. So for instance, we often see successful projects with a big number of participants, and even at a certain country level, we have some national consortium within the consortium itself. This could bring together, for instance, a university, a SME, and a large corporation. So what we recommend is to have sufficient project participants. What we do not recommend is to make a consortium just big just for the sake of it. It's really about finding the right balance and the partners you need to meet your innovation goals and ensure successful commercial deployment. Finally, the budget is between 2 and 20 million euros costs on average, so that is a quite broad range. But this reflects there is no maximum or a minimum budget in clusters. It varies from one project to another and the type of activities foreseen. So what are the characteristics of cluster projects? First, they are led by industry. The public authorities are providing the funding, but the project themselves and their strategic direction is led by companies, so SMEs or large corporations. And this is an important element in clusters. The projects go beyond the state of the art, as mentioned by Linden earlier on, which means that they extend the solutions existing in the market in their respective environment. So if you're preparing a cluster project proposal, it's very important that you clearly describe what is the state of the art in your respective industry and also how you bring a unique value proposal in that extent. Clusters projects, as the other instruments, are bottom-up, which means the project applicants have the freedom to design the project they want and the topic they want within the cluster's overall topic. And this is interesting specifically for the companies because they can design the project they want based on their own needs or the need of their customers. Projects are also close to the market, which means they're usually ranging from TRLs 3 to 4 up to 7, and they lead to commercialization in the following 3 years after the project ends. This short time to the market is often facilitated by the presence of large corporations in the consortium. And finally, the cluster projects cover the whole value chain in their respective industry sector. So for instance, if you're working on a project on electronics, you may be willing to bring together a material provider with a chip manufacturer, or even some actors working in the application, software application area. So we've seen what a typical cluster project looks like. Now we may wonder, what's the life cycle of a cluster project? To understand, we need to have a look at the general process of clusters. So here is the 2 stages called process that applies to most Eureka clusters. And we call it this way as there is 2 levels of evaluations. There is first evaluation, which is the project outline, followed up by a second stage, which is the full project proposal. And I'll elaborate on that in a second. The first step in a cluster call is the launch period, right? This is when the clusters will present their national call, any specificities or relevant information for beneficiaries. At this period, the clusters will also present their brokerage tools, and they provide support for matchmaking for you to meet with potential partners. At the same period, the countries will usually run national webinars to present their national funding rules and national schemes, and this is something we recommend highly to attend. And finally, there is usually towards the end of this period launch events, physical launch events, where you can meet with the organizers and other potential partners. Then the consortium will finish to prepare their proposals, and they will submit a project outline. This document is an overview of the project with basic information such as the rationale of the project, the implementation plan, and the market implementation as well. These criteria will be looked at by the industry experts when evaluating the proposal. The proposal will also be evaluated by the countries, who will also focus on the national eligibility. And based on this joint evaluation, the project will or will not be invited to the second stage, which is the full project proposal. The project invited to the full project proposal will prepare this document, and this is an improvement of the project outline. The main addition is the work packages description. Again, the industry experts will evaluate, and they will be very careful whether their previous recommendations have been considered. Same for the countries, they will also evaluate again the proposal. Following this joint evaluation, good projects will be labeled, so they will receive a Eureka label, which means that the project is of good quality and has reasonable chances to be funded nationally. Finally, labeled project partners will apply at national level for funding, and the project will start when they manage to secure their funding. So that's for the whole preparation level. The 4th box alluded to the monitoring part of the project, which is fairly standard. There will be review meetings for the 3 years of the project. And the final box is about the follow-up stage. Once the project ending, there will be a final review meeting, and there will be, after that, for the best project, some awards or some press releases. So that's also a good opportunity. So here is a slide about the Clusters Programme figures at a glance. So as mentioned by Peter earlier on, the Clusters Programme represents a big part of the Eureka portfolio. Today, the 5 Eureka clusters represent 112 running projects and a total of 728 million euros. This shows the magnitude of clusters. The pie chart highlights the type of participants in running projects, and we can see that industry and SMEs are the most represented partners. But we also have academics and universities, for instance, which are also very important and bring their own added value, for instance, for more experimental developments. Clusters projects create and generate different type of impacts. Most common one is innovation impacts. So we are talking here about new technologies, new cutting-edge technologies. But the clusters also support incremental innovation about improving existing processes or products or making smaller improvements. The economic and societal impacts are also important. 1 year after the end of the cluster project, the participating organizations achieve an annual turnover growth of 13% on average, and this is worth mentioning. The employment growth is also significant, as there is on average 7% increase of annual employment growth in the companies after the project. And with these indicators, we also understand why countries are interested to invest in the clusters. There is also an ecosystemic impact with cluster project participants building long-lasting partnership and trustful relationships, as mentioned by Linden before. And finally, clusters projects help to increase innovation speed and decrease the risk of failure. Innovation speed is boosted thanks to the complementary knowledges and skills within the consortium and their existing capacities. On top of that, the budget costs are also funded partly by the countries, as we explained before, which decreases the risk even further for participating organizations. So we are getting towards the end of our presentation. Here is a summary of what was presented to you today and a sort of recap of what the clusters can offer you. They can offer opportunities to fund transnational RD&I consortium, access to the best companies and knowledge institutes, projects initiated by industry in line with national priorities, global and trusted cooperation in communities, and finally, support of industry experts. That's the final slide. So I thank you very much for your attention. If you're interested in clusters projects, you will find here the upcoming call deadlines. There will be more to follow. And this is it for me. So thank you very much. 감사합니다. And I hand over to you, Jason.
Thank you very much, Mr. Linden Ferrer and Mr. Sébastien Aubron. Nextly, I'd like to invite one more Korean company who was participating the Eureka cluster programs. Let me introduce Mr. Kisu Kim, manager of Dtonic. Please give a big round of applause. Thank you.
안녕하세요.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I've been given the opportunity to discuss the SARWS project as part of the success case of the Eureka cluster projects here at 2023 Korea Eureka Day. I would like to ask you for your understanding that I'm going to proceed in my mother tongue, Korean, although there are many international guests present here today. Just earlier, we've heard from Sébastien and Linden about the overview of the cluster and the call cycle. So I would just like to provide a brief overview of the project that we participated in called SARWS. This is the table of content. I'm going to provide you with some information about the project, the consortium, our role at Dtonic, and the benefits that we were able to achieve through the project. The SARWS project was included as part of the Celtic Next cluster. We worked with France, Belgium, Portugal, Romania, Turkey, Spain, and Korea. So there were 7 countries represented, about 24 organizations as parts of the consortium. We began in September 2018 and we concluded in April 2022. Now, this is bigger than other average-sized projects. As for Dtonic, we were the only Korean company represented in the consortium. The SARWS project looks at road weather status. It's a secure, accurate project. So basically, it looks at road, meteorological, and weather events. And we started working on this because we saw the impact from climate change all over the world. We've seen abnormal climates, this leading to black ice forming on the streets, leading to many traffic accidents. And also, we've seen some research on autonomous vehicles. And we wanted to look at the telecommunications research aspects of that. For black ice and microfine dust, we felt that this kind of road weather data, we looked at broader time span and geospatial span of the data. For commercialization of autonomous vehicles, however, we thought that the span had to be shorter, that the data has to be provided more real time and in shorter distances. So instead of just broad areas, maybe smaller, narrower areas on the road, we wanted to converge the data into use cases and also use cases on climate-related and weather-related data. Ericsson, IMEC, Elixon, these are big companies. And they were the ones that did data collection, modeling, aggregation. And Dtonic here looked at data collection and analysis and visualization. Well, specifically, we installed LiDAR sensors on the car and collected data of the car and of the road situation, analyze the data and model the data, and with the modeling we could do prediction and visualize the data that we would likely predict what's going to happen. And this is data that is usable for the user, that we could service to the user. It was a map of the road patterns and the data that we were able to visualize. In this process, RoboCore providing standards, reports, and maybe some companies providing data samples. We were able to learn from one another, and there was a lot of knowledge transfer in between the companies in the consortium. In participating in the Eureka cluster project, the contribution that we saw was that we were able to secure international intellectual property rights, but I think that really the fact that we were able to have long-time collaboration is so significant. In the second year, we had to go online because of COVID. Before that, in the first year, we had face-to-face meetings. But then we had to go online, remote because of COVID. But even after COVID, we continued to have a bridge. And many of the players continued to work together in pitching, or we continued to work together in other projects. In fact, we continued to maintain robust relationships. The fact that we were able to engage in projects with many different international partners was a key benefit for us. I would like to thank everyone at Eureka Clusters and Kiat. Because we're able to contribute to international concerns like climate and environment, I think that these global challenges require not individual companies in individual countries, but global cross-border cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kim Kisu. Nextly, I would like to move on to the last program, the network project, Globalstars and Innowide and the investment readiness program. I would like to invite Mr. George Rees, Operation Manager for Globalstars network projects and cooperation activities of Eureka Secretariat. Please give a big round of applause.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So thank you very much, Jason. Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is George Liz. I also work at the Eureka Secretariat, and I'm managing network projects, Globalstars, Innowide, and the investment readiness program. So thank you once again to our hosts. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here presenting to all of you. I will be outlining these projects, starting with the Eureka network projects. This is Eureka's original program. It's also the most flexible and open funding support program we have. So it retains the original Eureka concept, meaning that we have a permanent open call, and also following this bottom-up concept that you have heard already several times. This means that any organization can present an application, submit a project application at any point on any topic of research and development and from any of the Eureka countries. However, there are, of course, certain eligibility criteria, funding availabilities, amounts and rates that differ from country to country. That's why I think it's again important to highlight that you should, for any Eureka program, always contact first your national project coordinator. In this case, it's Jason in Korea, in Kiat. And they are the persons that will really give you the best information, what is the funding available, and also advice on what are the best Eureka programs that you could select and the best funding programs. Besides this open call, this program, Eureka Network Projects, has also been used by Eureka countries to set up bilateral, multilateral calls. Sometimes some of these calls will also have a geographic or thematical focus, and we have seen various of these. But these calls, they also have, because they are organized by 2 or more countries, they will also have a specific calendar, dedicated funding, and a timeline that is more coordinated also in terms of the evaluation process and the decision. So if you create a strong application, of course, you have good chances of receiving public support. Roughly, we have 20 of these bilateral and multilateral call for projects set up every year. So please check our website, our public website, to see which calls are open at any stage. And actually, Korea is one of the most active countries in the Eureka Network Project program. And also in these type of bilateral and multilateral calls, Korea has participated in 8 bilateral, multilateral calls in the past 3 years, including the advanced materials and the lightweighting technologies call. Soon we will have a call dedicated to quantum technology, and again, Korea will be participating on this call. We have a decentralized evaluation process, contrary to what was described by Camilla in Eurostars, but it follows a common evaluation methodology. And we are focusing also on the 3 main criteria of excellence, impact, and the quality and efficiency of the implementation, so actually the project planning and the consortium involved. And we do have a quality threshold to give the Eureka label to the projects. Then to give you, again, some of these might be repeated, but it's good to mention the basic eligibility criteria that apply also to the Eureka Network projects. So you must be looking to develop a new product, process, or service. Our projects are close to market, bottom-up, and market-led, market-driven, sorry. And they must always have a civilian purpose, so we don't do military projects. We always support international cooperation projects, meaning there has to be minimum 2 entities, independent entities from at least 2 Eureka countries. And we also want that these projects are balanced, so maximum that there should be 70% of the project budget on one side of a consortium. Again, please keep in mind there might be national requirements, so again, please contact your national Eureka office. Then moving on to Globalstars. The Globalstars program has been developed as the Eureka tool to engage with countries or regions that are outside the current existing Eureka network. We have been doing so, I think, successfully since 2016. We have engaged with many parts of the world. Globalstars follows the same model as the network projects, but it has one fundamental difference, that is that we allow for bilateral cooperation with, between one Eureka country and the non-Eureka country, that is the target country involved in that specific call. It means that entities also from the target country, from the country outside of Eureka, can engage directly with another Eureka country and actually be the leaders of that project. And this is not possible outside of the Globalstars call. Setting up these calls, you always need to have a Eureka country in the lead, together with others, of course, and the target country or region with whom we are setting up the call. It's normally Eureka that chooses which countries or regions to approach, but it is also possible for countries or regions from outside of Eureka to approach us and show interest in collaborating in Eureka, in Globalstars, sorry. Korea has participated in the 2020 call with Singapore, and Globalstars has also been the starting point, as was mentioned before, for certain countries to become associated to Eureka, as that was the case of Chile, Argentina, and Singapore, and Brazil will follow up. I have here also a map of the world, which shows really the outreach of Eureka. So you can see in green the Eureka countries, and in purple the countries with whom we have engaged with through Globalstars calls. And you also see there already Argentina and Chile in green. These were the countries that through Globalstars then became associated to Eureka. Singapore was the latest. And as was mentioned already, Brazil has applied also to become associated to Eureka. In light blue, you see all the other countries that have at some stage participated also in Eureka through Globalstars or also other programs in Eureka. So you really can see the global outreach of Eureka. Currently, we have 3 calls open and published in our website. We have a call with Japan, with NEDO, where the UK is leading this call. We have a call with Brazil, with FINEP. Spain is on the lead. And another call with Taiwan, with E3, where the Netherlands are leading. And we hope to launch new Globalstars calls in the future with other parts of the world. So we have been in touch with parts of the USA, not the whole of the USA, but also with Vietnam, and we also want to engage with countries like Australia, New Zealand, and more countries in Africa. Also, we had the call with Kenya, but we are exploring more possibilities. I will move now to the InnoWide program. This is a program that is part of the European partnership that was already described by my colleague Peter and also Camilla. It's a new program in Eureka, and what we are doing through InnoWide is helping our innovative SMEs to bring their products, services, or business solutions to global markets. These are 6-month market feasibility projects. They are funded through a lump sum mechanism, so it's a fixed amount of 60,000 euros to do these market feasibility studies. The beneficiaries are SMEs from EU member states and also Iceland, Israel, Norway, or Turkey. So Korea is not a direct beneficiary of this program, but it is a target, potential target market of these SMEs. We had already 2 calls that were open. Last year we supported 50 projects, and we had a call with a special focus on Africa. And the second call closed just a few weeks ago, where we received 382 applications. We will fund 70 projects, and here there were a few examples of projects targeting Korea from companies from Hungary, France, Spain, and also Sweden. So Korea partners can be contracted by these SMEs to help them do their market feasibility studies. So finally, last but certainly not least, I will give you a brief explanation of the Investment Readiness Programme. So through the Investment Readiness Programme, we are helping again our innovative startups and SMEs, but this time to put them in touch with potential private and corporate investors. We help them to learn about international growth opportunities and make a connection with European and non-European investors, establishing partnerships with mainly large corporates, but also other private investors. There are two main activities of this program. The first one I'll describe is the so-called corporate activities. These are corporate challenges sessions, and this consists that a corporate will introduce teams or specific challenges to a group of startups and SMEs. This is open to all Eureka countries, so we promote these sessions widely, and we ask our member states also to help us in this exercise. And these are then invited to submit their solutions and proposals to these corporates that then invite them to pitch their solutions to them and potentially engage into a business or an investment. These are our current corporate partners, 11 partners from Austria, Belgium, Finland, Germany, Portugal, Italy, and Spain. We also have a strategic partnership with the European Space Agency. And since this morning, as you have seen, we have signed the MOU also with KSOE from Korea, and we will start our activities with them also. The other part of the investment readiness program is this so-called missions. This is where we are bringing our SMEs to the largest high-tech private venture capital business angel events happening in the world. We had during, of course, COVID, we could not do these missions in person. So we did switch twice, switch in Singapore twice. We did collision with Canada. These were done online. And last year we did the first mission to Web Summit, where we invited 30 Eureka, Eurostars companies to participate in Web Summit. We are already working on new events to attend next year. It was already mentioned at the end of the Turkish chair. There will be a large Eureka event in Istanbul in mid-June. So I invite you to find out more about Eureka, as this is the last slide. So please find out about the current open calls where your career is involved and other opportunities in our public website. Please subscribe our newsletter where we give you information on a monthly basis of what's happening, calls opening, also events and so on. Follow us on the social networks, and please get in touch with us for any of these programs, but also others. You can contact us through this email, projects@eurekanetwork.org, and we will reply to you. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. It was a very wonderful presentation. And lastly, I would like to introduce one Korean research institute who has been participating in the Eureka Network program. I would like to invite Mr. Jae-sup Oh, Principal Researcher of National Nanofab Center. Please give a big round of applause.
안녕하십니까. 저는 나노중학교.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jae-sup Oh at the National Nanofab Center. We just heard the presentation on the Eureka Network, and today I would like to talk about how we were able to successfully participate in this project. Let me briefly tell you a little bit about our center. We work on research into nanotechnology and semiconductor R&D. We were established in 2020, and we are located in Daejeon. We work as parts of the KAIST University, so we are a think tank affiliated with the university and provide equipment, facilities, and process to many different members of the academia, industry, and research sectors. We work together with students and experts and researchers to try to ultimately commercialize nanotechnology and promote this commercialization of nanotechnology. Our center participated in the Eureka projects since 2015, and we have worked together with the Eureka Network and Eurostars, worked with many different partners to try to exchange knowledge and also promote the advancement of nanotechnology. By promoting the innovation of nanotechnology, we have participated in the Eureka Network and also in the Quantum Cluster Horizon Consortium. We try to form this consortium to try to engage in many different forms of cooperation. Based on this, we would like to share 3 tips on how to become successful on this, which focus on project, partner, and proposal. You have to work with the project coordinator, the NPC. You contact the NPC and define the project objectives, and then you have to find the right partner. Together you work on the proposal, and with the well-defined proposal, you can submit it. Well, you have to have good and seamless communication with the NPC so that your objectives are very clear and the project is appropriate and a good fit for you. So just briefly on these different elements. For a successful Eureka project, you need to have very strong partnership. This is a must. The partners that you work with really is the priority. I want to emphasize this importance of a partnership. There are many different projects. There's Eurostars, there's Eureka Network, there's Horizon, the clusters. So of these many different kinds of projects, if you look in detail, their criteria and the scope are slightly different. So I invite you to understand those different criteria and requirements so that you can know what is the right fit. This is why you have to contact the NPC. Work with the National Project Coordinator to identify your needs and what is the right fit. When we first made the request, Kiat's Kim Eun-young was very instrumental. Mr. Chung, Miss Kim, they were all very instrumental in providing support. And then next comes the partnership. We were very lucky in able to work with Eureka Network and Eurostars, and we were able to start with a partner who had experience in those different initiatives. And this was very helpful for us, and continuously we were able to expand the network. We have been able to make use of the knowledge that we're able to get from the different networks. And in the successful partnership at Stockholm and in 2019, a Manchester Eureka Day partnership, that was very helpful. So in 2016 and 2019, we participated in the Korea Eureka Day events. And with the 2016 members, the partner, we were able to successfully have a project. In the 2019 partner, we were able to also participate in many different successful projects, such as the Quantum Cluster and many different other partnerships that follow suit after that. The Korea Eureka Day really allows for strong and robust partnerships, the B2B matching, many different kinds of events and seminars that allow you to have help in identifying the best partner for you. Then, I would like to stress the importance of a proposal. A well-defined proposal is very important. You need to get the expertise and the relevant information that you have to gather and put into the proposal. And the roles and responsibilities have to be divided very appropriately between and among you and the partners so that you can fill the application and submit it on time. So, I have once failed in submitting the application on time. I think I missed it by about 5 seconds or so. So it's very important that you make it on time. At our center, we were able to try to have these successful cases through Eureka Network. To drive towards success, you have to first of all define the project objectives, work closely with the NPC, and try to identify the project that is a good and relevant fit for you, and then search for the right partner, and then submit the proposal on time. For your business success and your venture into new businesses and new markets and opportunities for innovation, I really think that you can benefit a lot from participating in Eureka. The Eureka projects, I hope, can be a successful venture for all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oh. Next agenda is a Q&A session. So we would like to invite the speakers who presented about the Eureka program today. And could I ask speakers from the Eureka Secretariat to come up to the stage, please? Mrs. Brit, Helle, Mr. Peter Chisnall, Mrs. Camilla Latte, Mr. Sébastien Aubron, and Mr. Linden and Mr. Jorge Lis, please. And so if you have any question, please raise your hand and start by stating your name and affiliation, please. And then let us know your question. Also, if you're possible, please mention the name of the speakers you would like to address your question to. Okay. 1 second, please. Okay, could you start your question, please?
내비 스타트업 고려하고 있는 이기도.
I'm Igi-do, thinking of establishing a startup. So with regard to the evaluation process, with regard to the FPP and the Eureka labeling, so I would like to understand, can you give us some more information on how this full project proposal is being assessed? Is there a scoring system? That's my first question. And second, in terms of the companies, do you have any data on the number of unicorn companies that grew, or any number information with regard to the exits?
Mr. Aubron?
Successful exits.
Did you understand the question?
Yes. 1, 2. Can you hear me? Yeah, so I caught the very end of the question, and I heard the question about what's the chances for a project submitted to eventually be funded. Is that correct? Was this? Okay. So there is on average, all 5 clusters combined, more than 30% chances that when you engage into the process, your project will be funded. This is something we convey as a strong set of clusters in general, because it compares quite favorably to other national and European funding rates. So that's quite significant rate.
Just to add that we really recommend that you look at the individual cluster websites, the ones that you're interested in applying to understand the dates and the application form and all the other processes. Because although they're quite harmonized between them, there are some subtle differences, and it's important to take them into account. So yeah, have a look at the cluster websites. I think they make it quite clear to applicants what they need to do and how their applications will be assessed.
Okay. Do you have more answers?
No, and to complement your complimentary comment, if there is any need, we will be there for the next 2 days. And also on the cluster's website, there is contact addresses, and you may be free to reach out to the cluster offices. As we mentioned before, cluster offices run the clusters program. It's a quite unique setup, so they're also your contact point for that. Thank you.
Just to add about the unicorns, I don't have any figures on unicorns. I don't know if Sébastien has figures on unicorns. It looks like Peter might.
So for the unicorn perspective, 2 existing unicorns have participated, and another 8 European, we're calling them soonicorns. So companies that are about to become unicorns have participated. So 2 and a further 8.
Okay, thank you for the answer to the question. Do you have any questions? Please raise your hands if you have any questions. Okay. 파란색 입으신 분 부탁드립니다.
I think the gentleman in the blue.
My name is Chris Lee. I'm from Solideo Systems. My question is, so we applied to Eurostars. We did not get it this time. We were thinking maybe we could apply to some of the other Eureka programs. Would there be some sort of a disadvantage or maybe an advantage from doing this? I think we are looking at Eureka clusters and Eureka networks. Was this a good idea? Is my question. Thank you.
start. There's no inherent disadvantage. There are some differences in average project sizes that you see between the programs. In Eurostars, it's led by an SME. Camilla can say more about this. And in the clusters, it's often led by a large industrial. The project sizes in the clusters are also larger than those in Eurostars. And often a clusters project will focus on one technology, developing one innovation area, but across several different market areas at once. So it could be that it's a slightly different project that you'd be looking at, but there's no inherent disadvantage.
Okay, thank you for the answer. And
can I, sorry.
Yeah,
can
yeah,
I just
you can
add something? Sorry, Jason. There is no disadvantage in applying to any other funding program, but you can always reapply to Eurostar. Resubmission are accepted, and also you receive like written feedback from the experts, probably pointing out at some points to improve, so you can also take the chance to improve the proposal. Thanks.
Okay, George,
thanks.
please.
Just also to complement, because you mentioned network projects, there is no disadvantage also, you can. Of course, what cannot happen is that you get double funding, and this is something that we check. But, and some of our programs are also complementary, so it would actually be complementary to Eurostars or network projects, so you have to see an investment readiness, obviously also, but that's a later stage. But no disadvantage, submit your application.
Okay, 저 뒤에 계신 분 부탁드립니다.
We have a hand in the back.
Hello, my name is Andrew. I'm from the government of Quebec, or the Canadian government. I just wanted to ask a question where for Eureka or other joint research programs like Horizons and all the rest, I'm wondering if there was a case of a kind of a country consortium like Canada, a European country, and a Korea that actually has done a joint research program. It's for the Eureka officials, yes. Or actually, another question could be if that's even possible. But from what I understand, it is possible. So just want to see if there has been any cases. Thank you.
Can we, sorry, just to understand if we understood the question correctly. So the question is whether we accept a consortium of companies or organizations from Canada and other countries, or if you would like, if governmental organization can be the consortium and apply for funding.
I was asking about companies or research institutions, universities.
So I think it depends program to program. Canada is a Eurostar country, so it can participate with, again, this rule to look for a partner that is either a EU member state or associated to Horizon Europe.
Yeah, so for Eureka projects, Canada and Korea, now they're full members of Eureka, so there's no limitations. Before they were associate, that was also possible. If it is a country outside the Eureka network, then there is the 2+1 rule. So you need to have 2 Eureka countries, then you can have a participant from a country or outside the Eureka network. That is also possible, except if it's in a Globalstars call, in which case you can have 1+1, as I also described. But that's an exception. Within a Globalstars call, we are dealing with a specific target third country outside the network, and there we allow bilateral cooperation. Apart from that, no limitation. Please go.
Yeah, so to complement on the cluster side, it follows the same rule as the other Eureka instruments, which is these 2 Eureka member countries at least. But you should also be careful at national level, because sometimes you've got some national rules. And for instance, as regards the type of participants, in some countries you cannot only have 1 university, you will need to have 1 corporation. And I believe that's the case for Canada. You can have research organizations, but these would need to be subcontracted by a company. So that's very important that you check at national level those specificities as early as possible, and also encourage your partners to do the same, because every year we see bad surprises later in the stage process. Thank you.
And maybe just to add on top of what Sébastien said, there's good news for Canada. Canada's very active in the clusters, so if you want to be put in touch with your national representative, then have a word with me afterwards and we can exchange.
Okay, thank you for the answer. And if I ask the question, every country has different the eligibility criteria, but in Korea, every consortium has to have at least one private company. So in Korea, only the university and the research institute alone is not available to participate in the Eureka project. Okay, do you have any more questions? Yes. 저 뒤에 계신 분 먼저. 네, 유승호.
Yes, the gentleman at the back, Dr. Yu. Yes, please. Hello, I'm from Yonsei University. My name is Seung-ho Yoon. I have two questions. My first is about the Eurogea cluster in particular. So particularly I want to ask about Germany, and even more particularly about German universities. So let's say I want to work together with a German university. My ask is whether I also have to work with a German company, a private sector company as well. Another question is, can a non-member country participate in a Eurostar project?
Could you answer the question?
With the cluster, the Eurogea, from what I understand, it's the ZIM program, which supports SMEs in Germany, which is supporting or can support Eurogea. So you'd need to check carefully whether there's other funding available from a different funding source, perhaps in Germany, for the university. But again, you'd need to check with ZIM, and you'd need to check also with, probably it's best to get in touch with the Eurogea office, who would know what's up to date.
I'm going to answer for the question about Eurostar. So we have 37 Eurostar countries. They have funding dedicated to the program. We also accept other organizations that are not what we call Eurostar country. And then in this case, the participant needs to self-fund the participation in the project. Of course, as the rules for the eligibility is that there must be at least 2 Eurostar countries, then if it's not a Eurostar country, then you need to have a consortium with at least 3 participants.
Okay. As far as I know, the German funding agency doesn't participate in the Eurogea program. But if the German university wants to participate in your program, they can participate as a self-funded. So you can still collaborate with the German the university for the Eurogea project. Do you have okay.
My name is Thomas Gries, Aachen University. I'm responsible for the research and academic affairs with Korea. I have 2 questions. One is not for you, it's for the audience. I'm looking for somebody from Decamaterials because we are making carbon fibers and there might be the chance to collaborate. So here, please come to me. The other one, to the podium. Whenever you talk to Korean researchers at the moment, there is the talk about the tremendous cut of R&D budgets domestically. So the president's wish is to collaborate more internationally. And the question is, how does Eureka react onto that movement? Thank you.
That's an excellent question and a very difficult one. Eureka is inherently made up of member states. And it really is the member states' prioritizations that will dictate the availability of the budget. From what I can say is that there are national targets. Certainly within the EU, everybody talks about 2.5% of GDP or 3% of GDP going towards R&D. I know many of the EU 27 have made significant progress in getting there. Not everybody's at the same point, but I think there is a general trend to understanding that the solutions to all of the challenges that we face are probably solved through R&D. So there's an acknowledgement politically that this is the way forward. The availability of resources is a difficult point at this time. There are lots of financial obstacles, and the inherent inflation crisis that's happening everywhere is making this more and more difficult, but I think generally it's going in the right way. What we see with some member states is that they are themselves going further than we might expect. I think it's not a surprise that you hear the United Kingdom, despite Brexit, was heavily invested in the support of R&D to the point where their activities in Eureka were entirely self-financed. So they believed in what we were doing so much that they put in the resources that they had promised initially, and then additional resources on top. This is the same for Switzerland and all of the countries that participate in our programs without the EU's community funding, Korea being another. So all of these countries have done the studies, realized that there is huge impact to be had through mechanisms like these, and are very keen to establish the processes and the funding streams so that their SMEs and their other organization types can benefit from Eureka. So generally speaking, we see a very positive trend. Now, on an individual case-by-case basis, there may be fluctuations, but overall, Eureka is doing very well in that regard.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Because of time constraint, we can have one more last question. Do you have any question? Okay, please.
Hello, my name is Alexander Fertlo. I'm from Enerocean. We're a Spanish floating wind development company. In the past, we've won a few calls with EU Horizon 2020, and we've never participated in the Eureka funding programs. And I was just wondering, as you originate from the European Commission, do you follow a similar procedure? I know it's not a call system, but in the sense it's not competitive, but you follow a similar system on the points awarding. For example, you say you only need 2 entities to participate, or 2 associate countries. Is it useful to have as many countries as possible in the consortium, or similar parameters, let's say?
So I think a clarification. First of all, we're not from the European Commission. We're Eureka. The European Commission is a very key and important member of Eureka, but it is a member along with all of the other countries as well. The Horizon Europe program is a very large program. It's 89 billion euros of funding for R&D, and it has various pillars of activity, and each of these pillars has different rules in place. Now, within the structure of this large entity, the co-funded programs, and ours in particular, have acquired certain exemptions to certain rules. So within Eurostars, there is only a requirement for 2 organizations. That's the minimum consortium size. Within Innerwide, as we heard from Jorge, it's actually a mono-beneficiary program. We describe it as a mono-beneficiary. There is a single entity within the Horizon Europe element, and then there's an external secondary entity where they're exploring into that new market. So there's a kind of different relationship there. Now you say, is there a benefit to having a large consortium? Yes, if that is the best way to present to your proposal. As we heard in the last presentation from our Korean colleagues, there was a strong emphasis on showcasing the value that each of those participants is bringing, on demonstrating what they're doing and what their specific role is within that project, what work packages are being assigned to them, the responsibilities. People should have value, and you should have exactly the right number of people to do the work. No more, no less.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chisnall. Okay, because of the time constraint, I think this is the last question, and I hope you can discuss with the Eureka Secretariat at the coffee break and the lunchtime tomorrow. And also, we sincerely hope that today's event encourage more companies to initiate and strengthen international cooperation through the Eureka network. We want to express sincere thanks to all speakers who share their valuable insight and all participation. And the next program is the idea pitch, which is take place at the 36th floor of this building. And in the idea pitch, Korean companies and European participating companies will present their project idea. And I really hope that you can find your future partner for the next year, the project proposal. Thank you very much, and thank you all of you for participating in the Eureka Academy program, and I really hope you can enjoy the rest of our event. Thank you.